I'm Lorelei, and welcome to my cake tutorials. Today I'm sharing with you how I made my Winter Wonderland cake design. Included in this tutorial are two versions of the same design, a dark chocolate one and a white chocolate one. You'll see how to create an interesting textured buttercream decoration for the bottom tier. You'll learn how to make a chocolate lace collar to adorn the top tier. You'll also learn how to pipe buttercream pine cones and filler flowers for the detailed edging, and see how to make chocolate branches and other little extra special touches. Before we get started, click the subscribe button so you won't miss any of my future tutorials. You can use your favorite recipes or my spice cake with brown butter. I'll put the link to the recipe at the end of the tutorial. Begin by piping melted dark chocolate onto waxed paper in the shape of branches. I'll put a link to the paper piping bag tutorial in case you need help with that. After you're finished piping, put the sheet pan in the freezer. Next, pipe some melted white chocolate in a lacy pattern onto a 20-inch length by 3-inch width, or whatever size you desire, piece of wax paper. You can also use parchment paper, but I prefer the wax paper. The chocolate on the parchment paper had a tendency to crack easily. Make extra ones, 2 or 3 as a backup. One of them will be used as pieces for decoration. So here I have my bottom tier, which is a 3-layer 8-inch cake. It's filled and crumb-coated and glued down onto a silver platter. I'm using a Wilton leaf tip, number 352, to pipe my easy buttercream recipe in vertical rows to create an interesting texture. Here it is in fast motion. And here's my 6-inch top tier cake, filled and crumb-coated. I used Delphinium Blue Wilton Paste food color to color my buttercream. Start with a generous amount on top and spread the frosting out until it hangs over the edges. Work the buttercream down onto the sides of the cake. You may need to add more. Use a bench scraper that is warmed in hot water to smooth the buttercream. Please don't fret if there are a few imperfections. Most of the side will be covered in chocolate lace anyway. Try to get the top as even as possible. I like to use my offset spatula for this, turning the table as I work. I very gently scrape from the edge of the cake left to right. Mark the bottom tier using a 6-inch cake pan. Find the center and gently press down on the pan to make a mark. Use straws or wooden dowels for support. I find straws to be perfectly fine for this. Cut them flush with the top of the cake. Here's a little trick to keep the tiers from sticking together. I use a little bit of graham cracker in between the tiers. Place the top tier onto the bottom tier and make your adjustments. This is a lot easier to manage if your cakes are cold. And now for the fun part. I'm showing you here how to attach the white chocolate collar. Carefully and slowly work your way around the cake, pressing gently with the palm of your hand to adhere the chocolate to the buttercream. This is not hard to do, but there is a risk of breakage, so be careful. Peel the wax paper carefully as you turn the cake. It should come off easily, leaving behind a beautiful lace overlay. Here it is with the dark chocolate collar. This cake is slightly larger. It is the 6-inch size. Also, when you put the chocolate collar on, use your hand to warm it up a little bit. See the paper peel off easily, and you're left with an elegant lace collar. Pipe a border with buttercream at the bottom of the top tier using a round tip. I'm using a Wilton number 12. This covers any imperfections, and your cake is now starting to look like something special. Pipe some buttercream around the outer edge of the bottom tier to be used as a place to put your pine cones and flower decorations. Now it's time for the pine cones. I'm using a tip number 83 Wilton, and you'll need a straw and some chocolate buttercream or brown colored buttercream. The pine cones are small and difficult to see because the background is a little dark, so I'm going to have some pictures at the website for you so you can see a little more clearly, and I'm going to try to explain my best how to make a pine cone. You're going to create a closed center, just as though you were making a rose. Pipe a little more buttercream onto the straw so that your petals will have something to adhere to. Hold your tip horizontal to the straw and squeeze and pull to create 4 or 5 petals. Move down and make another row of these petals. They should not overlap. Keep making rows until you have the size pine cone that you want. So here it is again in fast motion and from a different angle. Cut the straw at an angle and using your scissors, place the pine cone into the cake. Pipe some greenery on the top of the cake and using a star tip, create the look of pine needles. If you have a grass tip, use that one for a more realistic pine needle look. After placing some pine cones, pipe some greenery to cover any of the straw that may be showing through. For colorful accents, you can pipe with a 103 rose and make some filler flowers. The wider end of the rose tip is facing down on the rose nail and at a 45-degree angle. As you turn the nail to the left, squeeze and release as you form an upside-down U. Put these on squares of wax paper, place them on a cookie sheet, and freeze them for at least 10 minutes. Place the little flowers in between the pine cones and pipe some leaves and greenery around them. Sugar crystals are really pretty, so I'm adding those here. And confectionery sugar makes really pretty snow. Add little pieces of chocolate lace for accents, and the branches should be added last. I used a beautiful piece of teakwood as the cake stand for my white chocolate version and photographed it in the snow with natural light. I love how elegant this cake is, yet at the same time it has a kind of a woodland feel to it. I hope that you like my design, and if you do decide to try this cake, please share it with me. I would love to see your work. I'd love to see your version or your take on this cake. You can share it at my website, weddingcakesforyou.com. You can send me an email through my contact page or even on Facebook. Happy baking and cake decorating, and thank you so much for watching my video.